Hey crafty friends, this is Denise with PaperKraftD. Welcome to my 100-day project video series where I finish one quick paper crafting project every day for 100 days. I'm hoping these videos will inspire you to develop your own daily habit to practice your craft. Even if you only have 15 to 20 minutes, these videos are perfect for you. So if you're looking for ideas, inspiration, and motivation, I hope you join in and maybe even craft along with me. So let's get paper crafting. Today I'm going to show you how I made removable and interchangeable labels for the front of my planner card box. You can see the labels here, and those just fit right on top of the planner card box, just like this. So these were samples for this release, so I don't have the actual labels in my possession right now, but I thought I'd just share these photos so that you can get an idea of what they look like on the box. I'm going to go ahead and just do a very light coat on the front and back of these with some gesso, and that'll make it a little easier to paint it in one fell swoop. And I'm not looking for full coverage at this point. I just kind of want to do a quick coat. So this can be used as a base coat for your paint color of choice. It can be tinted or left as is and used as the final coat. Really just depends on what you want for your project. For this one, I'm going to go over the top like this. Yeah, I just want to do a very light coat. For the most part, I don't want the paint getting down between this. I want to keep that kind of, what's the word? Burnt edge look. I really like that. So I'm being very careful not to add too much paint to my brush. Kind of just doing it very lightly over the top here. I don't want the paint seeping down in between those. Okay, and again for these two, I don't want so much paint that I can't see the lines in here. So if I even have to take off some paint, I can do that as well. And the reason I'm doing this is because you see how the edges of the it's hard to see. Okay, so you see how the edges of the MDF thing are kind of like burnt. They're like a darker brown versus the lighter brown of this. This is a lighter brown, and then this is a darker brown. So I want to keep that darker brown, that kind of burnt laser etching effect intact as much as possible. So yeah, it helps if you can figure out what color you want these before you start painting, because otherwise it's easier to paint while it's still on here than it is to paint when they're off, especially if you want to maintain that cool like laser cut edge. So like a lot of things, you can go ahead and just start practicing on one side. I would practice on the side that's not the front, on the back side, and kind of get the feel for it, and then turn it over and do a really good job on the front. Then I kind of get the feel for how to do it. All right, so like a dabbing motion, really. It does help to have like this edge wet. Like up to here. And then you have like something that you can pull down So like I can pull from here and just go down. That blends it a little nicer than having like a stark line between, you know, where this the brush ends and the dabbing of the finger begins. So yeah, hopefully that makes some sense. So I'm just continuing to do the same thing for the rest of this side. Then I'm going to turn this one over and do the front the exact same way. And then I'm going to do the back and the front of the other piece that has some of the labels. And you'll notice that I have a baby wipe, and those are invaluable for this process because they, in little strips, can actually be pulled through those letters to get out some of the excess paint that might accidentally get in there. And also it can help get some of the excess paint around the lines so that, you know, you are able to then take these labels out easier. All right, that looks pretty much awesome. So you can see that it didn't get a lot of paint inside there. A little bit, but you know, not much you can do about that. You can always gonna have a little bit. Okay, yeah, I'm super happy with that. So once this is all dry, I'm just gonna go ahead and sand this all down like this. And it just makes a nice, really smooth finish. It's easier to sand it while it's all together like this than when, you know, you pop out each piece and try to do them individually. All right, so I'm gonna do that on the front and on the back. And then I'm gonna do it for the other pieces as well. Make sure to wipe off any of the debris so it's not staying on there. Okay, and then I'm gonna just very carefully pop these out. Now I wanna show you, you know, when you are looking at these, there's like, you can kind of see where it's joined here, right? So it helps if you kind of, you know, put your finger right where that joint part is. So you can see like right here, it's joined. That's where it's gonna, you know, the rest of it's all completely cut through, but this is still kind of attached to this back base piece. Okay, so that's what's keeping it holding on. So if you kind of put your finger like, you know, right where those joints are, it makes it a little bit easier to pop these out. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, we don't want to break anything. Not that I've had any problems with breaking anything, but it's just kind of helpful to do it that way. All right, so you see there's a little bit of some ink along the edges. I can try sanding that off a little bit. Just use a little, you know, a little nail file. I haven't used this previously for my nails, so don't get squeebed out. But yeah, this is, so you can just kind of take some of that off the edges. It's much easier to take it off these edges than it is to take it off of the, you know, interior edges. And this one looks all right. All right, so the other thing you can do as well is kind of edge this with like a really dark ink. Here I'm just using some scorched timber, distress oxide, and I'm just gonna go along the edge like that. And you can see how, you know, how good that turns out. So that looks pretty good. Now you can't obviously do that to the interior, which is why we're really careful to kind of, you know, dab that on carefully. But these edges like this, yeah, no big deal. You can just kind of do the edges like that. Now be careful you don't transfer that ink to the front, because that would be a bummer. So yeah, you can see that looks really, really good. But I'm gonna go ahead and pop the rest of these out and do the edges, and I'll be right back. If you need to, if they're not popping out easily, you can use a little straight edge to kind of just very carefully, I'm not pressing down, I'm just, you know, going over this cut line, and I'm just following the ridge that's already there. So I'm doing that for the front, and I'll do the same thing for the back. And I go this way because this is the front. I want to make sure that's the side that looks really good. Okay, so you can see that it comes out a little bit easier. I'm going to wipe the ink off my hands with a baby wipe. And just want to point out too, if you do happen to get like a tiny bit of ink, you know, on the front of any of these, you know, you can just take your baby wipe, you know, because this is distress, these are distress inks that we got on there, and just kind of, you know, wipe that off. It should come right off. See? It's just, but you can see that looks really good, and all the edges look really good. Same with this one. That one looks really cool. Okay. Yeah. That looks pretty good too. So what did I use to attach these to the box, you ask? Good question. So I looked everywhere for a little piece of plastic that I could just put over the top of this box and then put the label over the top of that. So I could interchange these labels. I didn't want to be stuck with, you know, one label all the time. Like this one, I like the front just the way it is. And I might want to be able sometimes to just have that. I don't want to have a label glued on top of there. And, you know, that's just personal preference. I mean, you know, you do you. But for me, I don't like making decisions, so I wanted options. So I did find these at Daiso. Sizes, they come in white and they come in clear. I think they come in, it's these 3 different sizes like this. And I think I got one of, or a couple of each, yeah, in this. This is the only one I could find in the small one. I ended up not going with the white for this project, but there might be projects where, you know, you want that. But for this one, I just used these clear ones. And these are, you can see, these are like these paper holders, right, that they sell at Daiso. And these are the connectors that you put between the 2 boxes, like paper holder boxes, to hold them together so that, you know, you can put them on your shelf and they don't kind of, you know, move around a lot. Okay, so I'm finally killing this one. But I just took it out like this, okay, and you can see, so now this one's rounded. I think I put the rounded part in the back, so the part that's inside the box, and oops, and this just goes over the box, fits really nicely, just like that, and it's translucent. So this one is not completely transparent. This one is translucent. So then I just took the index label, and all I did was I added some E6000 glue to like, you know, the areas that we're going to overlap with this. And then I just stuck this to it like that. And then the whole label, you know, could be put on and off the box as well. All right, and then I took another one of these. I did the same thing for pool, for the pool label. Okay. All right, so, you know, these worked great. And here's the number for it. Let's see if you have a Daiso near you and you want to go this route. Here's the SKU number, and here's all the information on the back. Okay. And again, they come in 3 different sizes. I used the largest size, but all of these have the same gap in here. All of them have the same width gap, so they do fit over the top of the box like this very easily. They just come on and off very easily. It's not going to ruin anything on your front. It just comes off nice and easy. Okay, so that was my first option. Okay, and then, you know, there was a couple things that I didn't think were ideal with these, and that was, first of all, you know, it's translucent, it's not transparent. Second of all, you know, I could put this down lower like that to kind of center it, but then, you know, if you look, and I'm this anal, so, you know, forgive me, you can kind of see this, you can kind of see where the line is, where it ends right here, you know, between the two. It's not, it's part of it's translucent and part of it's, you know, see-through. So you could do that, but, you know, if I was looking for another option, to see if there's something that else I could do. The other thing that I didn't like is that I wanted to put this on here, but I didn't want to have to first glue, you know, a label underneath there and then glue it on there. And then I can only use one, you know, label, one word underneath there. So I looked on Amazon, and so I decided to try out these plastic label holders. I'll put an Amazon link in the description box below if you're interested in purchasing some of these, because this does actually work. And you can see, you get a whole bunch of them. You get like 20 in a box, and they look kind of blue like this, but up close, they are clear. Okay, so all I did was I put this on here like that. Okay, and you can see this little lip down here does go a little bit beyond the bottom. So to counter that, and that fits perfectly, and it's nice and transparent. So what I did to counter that is I just got my cutting mat, and this doesn't need to be super precise or anything, you know, just use your ruler here, get your straight edge, and then just kind of make a few passes. Don't add pressure. Just let it, you know, just do it in a number of different passes. That's the best way to go. And then you'll get to a point where you can just break it off. You can also use, oops, this didn't go all the way through. So I gotta go now through, well, I don't need that anymore. I can just use this as the guide. So I'm using this edge right here as the guide. You could just cut it with your scissors too, if that works better for you. There we go. And then if it has a little, you know, doodad like that that's kind of hanging off, you can just clean it up with your snips. There we go. You can even so yeah, you could totally cut this with scissors if you wanted. You could even file the edge, you know, if you want it to look a little bit smoother. And then of course, you know, wipe off the stuff. Okay. And if you wanted to corner around that, you could. You don't have to. I didn't. But now you can see this fits and it ends right here. It ends like, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch from the bottom of the box. So it's not overhanging it anymore. And you only need one layer. You don't need both layers of this. Okay. And you can see it's super transparent, which is what I was going for. Okay, and then I just did the same thing with like a found. I just took and I glued it, you know, where I could position it wherever I wanted it, up to like right there. I think I just kind of centered it. And then I just used the E6000 again to, you know, add to the back. And you can use a little stick to help move around the glue if you need to. That's helpful. I did find the E6000 worked really well, but you know, you can experiment with different glues. It's not, you know, the worst that can happen is it falls off, so, and then you have to re-glue it. Not a big deal. So yeah, so I mean, and even if you wanted to, you could position this and then go back and cut off, you know, the excess if that's, you know, bothering you. Totally up to you. I did the same thing with censored. I used one of these, a different one obviously, and glued it to that. Okay, now for this, I did use a clear one like this, but I used one that was doubled up like this, because then you can put, you know, slips of paper in there. Then you can interchange what the label is inside of it. It doesn't have to be the same label every time. So if you have those two layers, you know, you can change out what's in whatever word or phrase or anything, you know, even a stamp, a drawing, whatever, inside of there, and then, you know, take it out and put the new thing. Now, again, we have the problem of it overhanging the box. So what I did is I took it to my sewing machine and I just sewed along that edge. All right, so I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna sew and I'll be right back. All right, so this is what it looks like sewn up. You can do that, you know, just a straight stitch or, you know, any kind of stitch that you want. I normally leave these little strings kind of hanging off here, but this is one of the few times you'll actually see me trim them. And I sewed on this side, and when I had my foot in there, my sewing foot, it just naturally abutted this little ridge right here. Do you see where there's a ridge? So it's just naturally abutting that, and I just used that as the guide for sewing and kept it kind of straight. Okay, and then I'm just gonna take my scissors and just cut right through, just like that. Okay, and then I took this, and again, I just used the E6000 glue, and I glued it right over the top. Now, I don't want to do it down over the level of stitching, because then, well, I could do it partly, but, you know, I want to be able to slide in the paper onto the side so that it's visible. Okay, so let's see, for example, so I took this page right here out of Key Lime Night paper pack, and I just cut out one of these words. I'm not sure what it was now because I didn't take a picture of it. So yeah, sorry about that. And I just want to make sure that it fits. I think all of these do. So yeah. But I'm just going to use special. You know, basically what you want to do is decide, do you want it to overhang or do you not? I did not want it overhanging, so I trimmed off the two edges. Just kind of went like that. And then you can go slightly in from that, just to make sure it's not, you can't see it. There we go. So I did that, and then just gonna trim that up like this. I'm just using the edge of this as a guide for cutting. I took this and I just put it in here like this. Put this on here so you can see it. So that's now in here. All right, like that. And this just kind of helps you get a guide of where to glue it. And then, you know, you can go like that, or you could go up and move, you know, this of course can move up. You can put it wherever you want. All right, like that. And I did it so that, you know, I centered this on here and it fits perfectly, so that you don't see this ridge. If you center this box, it just so happens that that's the same width as that interior hole. So I just, you know, again, took some E6000 and added some glue. I can't put it on this edge because this overhangs this, but I just put glue along here and along here. And then, you know, I figured out where I wanted it. I wanted it more in the center. So, see, I'm going to push this down. So yeah, so I wanted it more like that. And you could even put it down a little bit farther, but I kind of like that stitching showing. So I put it like right about there and I glued it down. And then, you know, after it's glued down, you can take this out. This is still glued down, right? And you can put in, you take this whole thing off and put in whatever label you want in there, you know, and you've got all of these labels, right? I mean, pretty much all of these are gonna fit. Does together fit? Yeah. Does incredible fit? Yeah, that fits. Does important fit? Let's see. That's a little bit tight, but love this fits. So any of those, or, you know, you can type your own, or, you know, print your own. I mean, it's like lots and lots of different options. So, you know, I just glued this on there like that, and then you can change these out. So I hope that made sense. You know, if you don't have a sewing machine, even use, try to use some washi tape to just washi tape up the edge. So that's another option. But of course, if you washi tape it, then it's no longer going to be transparent. You're going to see the washi tape. So it has to be something, you know, that you want as part of the decoration for your box. Now I'm just going to show you all all the pictures of the ones that I made for samples. And again, I don't have them with me. So I was here just recreating these for you, but I don't have, you know, the originals. But you can see what these look like, you know, how you can change them out and put them on, you know, the box, the planner card box. It just looks really, really cool. I hope you enjoyed today's video and that you found some ideas and inspiration to develop your own daily habit and to practice your craft. That is, after all, what the 100-Day Project is all about, that we inspire each other, that we build community, and that we just really get motivated to express ourselves creatively. If you enjoyed today's video, please give this a thumbs up, leave me a comment. I really would love to hear what you're doing and what your plans are for the 100-Day Project, or if you're just enjoying watching everybody's videos, that's okay too. And if you haven't yet subscribed and you enjoy this kind of content, I hope that you do so and that you share my channel with your friends. I will continue posting videos for this 100-Day Project if I get community involvement and people seem to be enjoying these videos. I will continue to do the 100-Day Project regardless, but I just might not post it on social media as frequently if I don't get that kind of involvement and engagement. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. Again, this is Denise with PaperKraftD, and craft on.